All right, friends, we back with a new video. It's Jeff Nippard, bro. We're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slave himself, Jeff Nippard. So in this video, Jeff Nippard says, less work, more gains, 100-day experiment. Okay, whatever, man. Huh.
For the last 100 days, I cut all my workouts in half.
Really?
I wanted to see what would happen if I went from doing my usual 3 to 4 sets per exercise down to just one all-out set, sometimes two. Would I lose muscle? Well, in this video...
Would you lose muscle? Hey, man, if you only did these exercises and you only did one, now you cut it down to one, will you lose muscle? Huh? Because you're not doing so many exercises now? What? That makes absolutely zero sense. You mean like sarcoplasmic muscle? Like keep loading the sarcoplasm? You mean that muscle? Oh, it's not based on contractile muscle, contractile proteins, right? Real muscle. See, you actually have to have real muscle to lose muscle, right? Yeah, he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any. All right.
I'll break down exactly what I did, what the science says, and what happened.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, yeah, we all have muscle, right? Think about it. So people walking around in the street, they're not lifting weights. They have muscles. How else are they moving around, right? Well, they're not lifting, are they? So if they stop lifting, are they going to lose their muscles too? Oh, I forgot. They're not lifting. So how come they still have their muscles? Duh.
Happened to my physique. For as long as I've been training, I've always been a pretty high volume guy. For one, that's the way the bodybuilding greats like Arnold, Ronnie Coleman, and Jay Cutler all trained. And it's also...
Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler train and all that. Again, he's using why are these people, they claim they're natural. He claims he's an influencer, yet he keeps using steroid people as an example, something artificial, fake. And he uses them as an example. Why don't you use any like real people? Huh? Eh, Jeff? Oh, because it's less impressive. It's not so impressive because they don't know what they're doing. And neither do you. Okay.
What the science suggested was most optimal. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. I generally do at least 3 to 4 sets on each and every exercise, every workout. But like I said,
yeah, and so what?
For the last 100 days, I flipped that completely. I became the lowest volume guy in the gym. Instead of 3 to 4 sets, I only did 1 or 2.
We all know what high volume is associated with, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, right? Look, check it out, man. See this? You just have to go to NCBI PubMed. Muscle fiber hypertrophy in response to 6 weeks of high volume resistance training in trained young men is largely attributed to what? To sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, high volume training. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, a type of artificial muscle growth. All right? Yeah, man. So yeah, you could say that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is real muscle growth. It is real. I mean, as far as like artificial to myofibular growth, it's artificial, but it is real muscle growth. Get it? In other words, it's real sarcoplasmic hypertrophy growth. In other words, yeah, but it's not based on myofibular growth. You understand me? That's what these people are not telling you. They're not telling you that you're building sarcoplasmic muscles and not myofibular growth. I'm not joking, man. Maybe I should post it again in my community section. I don't know.
2 sets per exercise. That's it. For several lifts,
right.
I just do
That's
one.
why he thinks he's losing muscle if he does low volume work. So if I do low volume work, my sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles will shrink. I'll lose muscle, yeah.
One all-out max effort set and move on.
So his strength is based on motor unit, right? Motor unit strength, and his muscles are based on sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So his strength isn't based on building more contractile proteins, myofibular growth, because that's based on exercise-induced muscle damage, which he never does. None of his tests are based on that.
Oh, man. Now, to get everyone on the same page, when I say volume, I mean the total number of hard working sets that you do.
When I say volume is associated with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, I fucking mean it too. And so does PubMed. They fucking mean it.
For a muscle each week. So if you do a large number of sets, you're doing a high volume program. If you do a small number of sets, you're doing a low volume program. So let's use our chest as an example. Let's say you hit your chest.
There's nothing wrong with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Got it. It is still muscle growth. Look, I'll look it up for you right now, really quick, to show you on I don't know, whatever. All right, let's see what AI says. Overview. Overview says sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is a real type of muscle growth, not an artificial one. All right. Okay. That increases muscle volume and size by what? Increasing the sarcoplasm. The fluid-filled spaces in muscle cells that contains glycogen, water, and other components. So, yeah, that's what it contains. This is distinct from what? Myofibular hypertrophy. So, do we have more than one type of hypertrophy? Yeah. We have sarcoplasmic, and then we have myofibular. But people in the gym, they can't distinguish between the two. They don't understand what builds muscle. They think, I'll just do anything and I'll build muscle. The sarcoplasm will expand and I'll build this muscle. They don't know exactly what they're building. They're not even sure of that. That's why the gains are going all the time. The gains are going. See, muscles are post-mitotic. They do not split and divide and increase in number. So when you go to the gym, you get some myofibular growth in the beginning, and then it's time to build sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. Get it? You want to expand that sarcoplasm? Eat tons and tons of carbohydrates. Just fucking plaster those muscles with it, and they'll grow really big, okay? So anyway, this is distinct from myofibular hypertrophy, which it increases the contractile protein fibers within the muscle and leads to greater what? Strength training programs focused on higher repetition with moderate weight. Common in bodybuilding tend to promote sarcoplasmic hypertrophy by increasing the muscle's work capacity. Oh, the muscle work capacity. That's why I try to tell you, you're all endurance athletes coming in the gym. Get it? Your endurance, increasing the capacity. Yeah. So, what is the definition of sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Is an increase in the volume of sarcoplasm, the fluid, and non-contractile elements within the muscle fiber. Yeah. Cause, it is response to resistance training, is through to occur when the sarcoplasmic fluid, which includes ATP glycogen and other components, increases at a faster rate than the myofibulars, the contractile units. Result, this type of growth leads to an increase in muscle size, but does not increase the number of size of contractile myofibrils. So it does not lead to proportional increase in what? Strength. That's why Ronnie Coleman got injured.
Chest on 2 days, 3 sets of chest press on Monday and 3 sets of cable flies on Thursday. And that's all you do for the week. That means your weekly chest volume is 6 sets per week. And for the last decade or so, the standard science-based guideline for sets per muscle per week was, what do you think?
I don't know.
It's about 10 to 20 sets per muscle per week. That's quite
really 10 to 20 sets per muscle. Does it really matter? Here's a question. When it comes to myofibular growth, protein synthesis needs to outpace protein breakdown to see that mass on that myofibular, okay? We're talking about myofibular growth. Now, when it comes to sarcoplasmic growth, muscle glycogen synthesis needs to outpace fucking glycogen breakdown, okay? The opposite.
a lot. Going with our chest example, the low end of the science-based range at 10 sets would look like this. 3 sets of chest.
So when you come in every day and you lift weights in the gym, well, because you're like there's a lot of heat being given off and stuff. You burn some body fat at the same time, and then you increase the sarcoplasm. Get it? Yeah. That's really what you're doing. So that really is based more on aesthetic. These aesthetic people, they're like aesthetic look or something. They're trying to get low body fat and try to pump up their muscles.
press plus 3 sets of cable flies on Monday and 4 sets of push-ups on Thursday.
So
and
what?
the high end of the science-based range at 20 sets
Does it really matter?
would look like this: 4 sets of chest press and 4 sets of cable.
It doesn't matter what you do for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It is not highly controlled by satellite cell or folostat, myostat. It's not controlled by anything. You could do any exercise, high volume, any exercise, and providing that glycogen exceeds glycogen breakdown. Get it? Glycogen synthesis, that's all.
Flies on Monday, 3 sets of push-ups and 3 sets of pec deck on Wednesday, 3 sets of incline press and 3 sets of dumbbell flies on Friday. That's a lot of chest, and that doesn't include warm-up sets.
That's a lot of chest. That doesn't include warm-up. All right, friends. Just like I used to say, like I tell you in my videos about protein synthesis exceeds that breakdown to build that myofibular growth, and exercise-induced muscle damage. So in high volume training, this fake bodybuilding stuff, when you come into the gym, right? When muscle glycogen synthesis exceeds breakdown, it results in what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. Get it? Which is an increase in the volume of the sarcoplasm. Muscle cell sarcoplasm. This increase is primarily due to the accumulation of glycogen, water, and other substances within the muscle cell, leading to what? An overall increase in the size of the muscle fiber. Get it, dude? Yeah. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. This type of muscle growth focuses on increasing the volume of the sarcoplasm, which contains glycogen proteins and other cellular components. It is often associated with high volume, low intensity training. Role of glycogen. It doesn't really even matter about the training. Listen, it doesn't matter about the training as long as you're training every day. This is not based on exercise-induced muscle damage. You're coming in every day. You're an endurance athlete. Get it? At providing this glycogen synthesis exceeds breakdown. That's all. The role of glycogen is a storage form of glucose. When muscle activity depletes glycogen stores, the body responds by synthesizing more glycogen to replenish them. So we're trying to outpace that. Get it? To make phony muscles, to make fake muscles. So not everybody's on steroids. Duh. Accumulation, if synthesis consistently outweighs breakdown, glycogen stores will what? Accumulate. This along with other substances. The sarcoplasm will increase the cell's volume, contributing to the growth of the muscle fiber's size. This process can increase the muscle's work capacity like a workhorse, allowing for more sets and more repetitions to be performed. You're a endurance athlete, duh. You're not a bodybuilder. You're just some fake lifter. Like everybody else out there, whatever. I don't care. I'm gonna copy this. Anyways, let's go back to the video.
These are all hard working sets, all the way to failure or very close to it. And of course, that's just...
These are all hard working sets all the way to failure. Now, you're opening a window for breakdown and for synthesis of glycogen. Okay, why are you going to failure? Because you want to what? Increase more glycogen. Yeah, okay.
For one muscle.
Shalom, friends. I'm in the land where Jesus...
One muscle. For your total body volume, you need to add up all the sets for all your other muscles too. Those are some long workouts. Trust me, I trained like this for years. But not anymore.
Trust me, I trained like this for years. He's a lazy eater.
This is what my full week of chest training looks like now. 2 sets of incline press and 2 sets of pec deck on Monday, 2 sets of machine chest press on Thursday. That's it, 6 sets per week. Let's use this graph to compare how my current volumes look compared to the standard science-based volumes. This is what the high end of the science range looks like, and this is what the low end of the science range looks like. And this is what I'm doing right now. So it's pretty freaking low across the board. Most of my muscles get 6 sets per week. Some get 4 sets per week, and a few are in the 8 to 10 range. My shoulders get 10 sets, my back gets 9, my glutes get 9, and my quads get 8. On average, I'm only doing about 6.5 sets per muscle per week. And for the 100-day experiment, I split that volume up like this: upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, arms, rest. And I repeated that split for 14 weeks. The thing is, on paper, by following this plan, I was training at a level of volume that most experts would say is too low to maximize muscle growth. For the past 15
What
years,
do you mean too low to maximize sarcoplasmic growth? You just have to exceed that glycogen breakdown. What are you talking about?
the research has been hammering the same message. Volume is king. Back in 2010, James Krieger
Yes, volume is king when it comes to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because you want to absorb more what? More glycogen. Now, in exercise-induced muscle damage, we're looking for more micro tears, get it? So protein synthesis needs to outpace protein breakdown in that instant because protein builds what? Muscle. Get it? Protein doesn't build sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Duh.
published a meta-analysis of 8 studies comparing 1 set versus 2 to 3 sets per exercise. And what he found was clear. Doing more sets caused more gains. 2 to 3 sets per exercise.
But here's the question. Doing more sets created more gains. How? If you didn't exceed breakdown in glycogen, how could you have gained more of the sarcoplasm, increasing this artificial muscle growth, these fake muscles? So you could walk around aesthetically, looking at people like that guy that walks around. What's his name? That strong man. He goes, "What would you rather look like? Would you rather look strong or be strong?" Yeah, but that's relative when you say that, because what do you mean by that? Do you mean like physically strong, contractile protein strong, being massive and having contractile proteins, or having motor units, being big and having motor unit strength? Or having or just looking big and strong, like just sarcoplasmic without any motor units? But that's impossible. You still have to have some recruitment of motor units, even because you're lifting, you're pumping your muscles. What you're trying to do here, what this guy's trying to do here, this idiot Neppard, he's trying to pump up his muscles like a bicycle pump. Basically, that's all what people are doing in the gym. They're just pumping their muscles. Muscles are post-mitotic. They do not grow. They don't grow.
Size was about 40% more effective than just doing 1 set. And over the next 6 years, at least another 7 studies on volume and hypertrophy were published. So in 2016, Krieger and colleagues...
Dude, if muscles grew every time you lifted a box in a factory or a job or construction site, you'd commit suicide and die. You understand me? You'd kill yourself because there'd be no end to it. That's why muscles are post-mitotic. They do not build because you're lifting weights. They do not get bigger.
Another meta-analysis. This time, rather than sets per exercise, they looked at sets per muscle per week, and they found a clear dose-response effect. Once again, more volume meant more gains. By this point, volume...
And what did I tell you? What does it say? When glycogen synthesis exceeds glycogen breakdown. If it doesn't exceed it, the sarcoplasm will not grow. I should clip this too as well. Hold on. So this is what you get. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, a type of muscle growth that involves the increase in sarcoplasmic fluid. Stored substances like muscle glycogen rather than proportionate increase in contractile proteins. This is achieved through high volume, moderate to lightweight training that leads to muscle glycogen depletion. That's why you don't have to lift heavy weight. If you're lifting heavy weight to pump up your muscles, you're retarded. It's because the steroids are pushing you to lift a heavy weight, which stimulates the muscle's response to store more energy carrying glycogen, other fluids in the sarcoplasm, therefore sarcoplasmic. Training utilizes both muscle glycogen synthesis breakdown to increase the overall volume of the muscle cell's fluid sarcoplasm. Get it? Yeah, initial state, during training, after training results, whatever. Key takeaways. I don't know, both breakdown synthesis are involved. Yeah, cycle of glycogen breakdown during exercise. So here's what happens. Breakdown and synthesis. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is a result of a cycle of glycogen breakdown during exercise followed by synthesis and storage to meet future demands, whatever. Adaptation, repeated energy depletion, and storage, more glycogen in the sarcoplasm, yada, 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 expanding it. That's what this guy's getting, man. I don't care. Anyways, let's get back to the video. This is going to take forever then, man.
pretty much cemented itself as the main driver of hypertrophy within the science-based community. I was even singing its praises. Training volume, this has been cited as being the main driver of hypertrophy, but were we?
Yes, so volume is the main driver of hypertrophy. Listen to what he says. Volume is the main driver. What do most people tell you? They say mechanical tension is the main driver of hypertrophy, right? See what I mean? They'll tell you that. What's mechanical tension? Lifting weights. He says volume. What's volume? Well, we know it's associated with what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Get it?
Y'all kind of wrong. Well, last year,
Here's the thing. You could still do something high volume and you could do exercise-induced muscle damage. It could be high volume. And providing you get these micro tears, micro damages. Yeah. But then protein has to exceed that breakdown to see that mass on that myofibrillar. That's why building myofibrillar growth is a lot harder than doing sarcoplasmic training, because sarcoplasmic training, there's no limit. There's nothing going on there. There's no satellite cell. There's no follistat, myostat. There's nothing limiting it. The only limit is what you place on it, eating carbohydrates. Just down shitloads of carbohydrates. That's all. Preferably complex carbohydrates all day and all night.
Ellen and colleagues dropped the biggest, most detailed meta-analysis on training volume that's ever been published by far.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're up from 15 to, get this, 35 studies on training volume for muscle growth. And this time, they found another super clear dose-response relationship between volume and hypertrophy. More volume, more gains. And that...
More volume, more gains. Yeah, I don't know, man. I still see it has to exceed a threshold still. You need to exceed that breakdown in glycogen to increase the sarcoplasm. But again, I've done some sarcoplasmic hypertrophy training. I did a video on it on my old channel a long time ago. I showed you could gain within 3-4 weeks 20 pounds of sarcoplasmic hypertrophy in like 4 weeks of training. Get it? One time a week. So I didn't do high volume training. I only trained once a week, but guess what I did? The rest of the week, I ate glycogen. I just kept loading the glycogen in the muscle, and then I came back and I repeated. And by the end of 4 or 5 weeks, I gained 20 pounds of sarcoplasmic hypertrophy.
trend held from as low as 4 sets per muscle per week all the way up to 43 sets per muscle per week. Even the author...
You want to know why I was successful? Because it's not regulated by follistat, myostat, or the satellite cell. That's why. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, anything goes, providing you exceed that breakdown in glycogen. Just like what builds muscles? When protein synthesis exceeds that breakdown. That's what builds muscles. Now, what builds sarcoplasmic muscles? When glycogen synthesis exceeds that breakdown.
We're kind of like, man, I don't know what to tell you. Doing a lot of volume just really seems to work. But there are some issues.
That's like people telling you you're going to build myofibrillar growth with lots of whatever.
There are some issues. If you venture deep into the dingy underground corners of the online science-based lifting subculture, you'll find plenty of people criticizing this paper. You'll hear that none of these studies are actually measuring true muscle growth.
Yeah, muscle swelling, that happens as well. You guys are inflaming your muscles all the time. You're swelling them. That's why he says muscle growth isn't really happening. Yeah, because you're going to the gym often to maintain that swelling, cell swelling. Look, edema. See, cell swelling, muscle swelling.
What's really happening is all that high volume training is simply causing the muscle to swell up with blood and inflammation, something called edema. It's really just a big pump that lasts.
What did I tell you people in all my videos? You're all lifting to swell your muscles up. You're losers out there. All these losers, yeah.
Few days, making it look like the subjects gained more muscle when the researchers measured it. There's probably some truth to this, but it's not the angle I'm taking. I think the overall effect is just
It's not the angle he's taking. What angle is he taking? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, yeah.
too big across too many studies. It's more than just edema.
Why doesn't Jeff tell you what he's training for? Because it'll discourage you from lifting. If you find out that all your lifting is for putting water in your muscles, all of you guys would fuck off in like a hurry, in a heartbeat, knowing that all you're building is water muscles. Yeah.
gains. Plus, the authors address this in the paper itself. No. Instead, I'm going to criticize this literature through a much more practical.
That's why the word hypertrophy has many meanings. So he fools you. He just tells you hypertrophy training, but what type of hypertrophy training is this?
Lens. First, let's get this straight. These studies didn't apply high volumes to every muscle all at once. No, most of them just blasted their biceps and triceps or their quads with high volumes. And for the most part, all their other muscles were trained normally or not at all. So the best you can really say is that high volume works if you blast a single muscle or two. Even the authors note that doing high volume for your entire body could cause some serious recovery issues. And speaking of recovery, almost all of these studies were done at around maintenance calories. But what happens if you're in a caloric deficit like I am right now? A deficit means less energy, which means less recovery. So it's just not clear if these results apply when you're cutting. This is a crucial point that I'll come back to when I show you my fat loss results throughout this low volume experiment. Perhaps most importantly though, all of these studies are short-term interventions. They usually only last 6 to 12 weeks. So what happens over a longer time frame, like a year or two? Do higher volumes keep pulling you ahead forever, or do they just give you a short-term boost and lower volume training would eventually catch up as you get closer and closer to your natural limit? Based on this research, we can't really say.
I love this one. As you get closer and closer to your natural limit, there is no natural limit to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's not regulated by follistatin, myostatin, and the satellite cells. See, you see, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. Doesn't know anything about lifting, bro. Nobody does online.
Because they don't last long enough. And then there's this whole thing with diminishing returns in general. On the surface,
diminishing returns of what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? It has to exceed that breakdown, you fool. Glycogen needs to exceed that breakdown to continuously expand the sarcoplasm.
These studies can definitely make it feel like doing exponentially.
He thinks you're going to keep gaining the sarcoplasm by eating your 3 meals a day. You're still eating your 3 meals a day? You mean you didn't up it to 6 or 9 meals a day? You have to keep upping it. Duh. So you can keep increasing the sarcoplasm. Dude.
More volume will get you exponentially more gains, but
more volume. So if I eat more volume. If I eat more, will I get more gains too at the same time as well? Or when does it stop? When the amount of food that is coming in, that will stop the gains, right? Okay.
That isn't how it works at all. The extra muscle growth that you get by doing more and more volume gets smaller and smaller. All of that.
Why is it getting smaller and smaller? Because I'm only eating 3 meals a day still? So in the beginning it worked for my 3 meals a day, but it's not working no more. Okay.
That is why I wanted to test this out for myself. Was I doing all this volume just based on some bodybuilding anecdotes from guys 100 pounds bigger than me and some science that, while valid,
Jeff is fake anyways. He's on steroids. Who cares? He orders them.
has some serious practical limitations. My N=1 experiment lasted for 100 days, which is longer than almost all of these studies I've shown you so far. I tracked my chest strength and my quad strength using a standardized science-based protocol. I tracked my physique with progress photos under the exact same lighting, and I tracked my body fat and lean mass with DEXA. For the challenge, I wrote the most effective low-volume split I could think of. Upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, arms and delts, rest. In just 1 to 2 sets per exercise, with almost every set taken to failure. I knew from other research that if I was going low on volume, I needed to go ultra high on intensity. In a world.
That's it. You gotta go heavy, really heavy, and intensity. So you could squeeze water inside your muscles. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's Ronnie Coleman's training. Look where it got him. Pumping water in his muscles.
Nice, dude. We got a little cheaty at the end. No. I'm gonna count it. Ooh. Oh, man.
You know, it's funny. When you look at Jeff sitting there, he still looks small. Weights don't make you big. He'll still be a small man the rest of his life.
Love this machine. Now, I'll be honest. I did have some doubts, especially in those first few weeks. After years and years of doing 10 to 20 sets per muscle per week, it did feel like I wasn't doing enough.
But what is the purpose of this? Because you just want to walk around and look cool and do workout videos and get people to be lifting weights all the time so you can maintain water inside your muscles, which is actually bad for you because a lot of it's glucose, which causes glycation, which will add to the deterioration of your body. That's why your faces all look old in the gym. You look like geezards.
But by around week 3, I noticed something surprising. Not only was I not losing size,
Yes, what have you noticed? Tell me, what have you noticed?
I actually looked harder and fuller. I was noticing more vascular.
He looked harder and fuller. Well, if you work out often, vascularity, I mean, you're kind of like burning fat, whatever, and some veins might show or something, whatever, bro. But he's on steroids, so what does it matter?
Clarity too. That's probably
Yeah, he saw that from the steroid use. He's seeing this from the steroid use.
because I was getting leaner, but the lower volume training,
Yeah, you're getting leaner. Why? Because you're high volume training. You're coming in all the time lifting. So it does the opposite. That's not based on exercise induced muscle damage. It's not going to make you leaner because you're busy building myofibrillar growth. It can only happen once a week. This training, it could happen every single day. Hell, you could come in twice a day and lift. You get sarcoplasmic hypertrophy.
was still keeping my muscles fuller than what I expected. And most
Yeah, you're telling me he's natural, right? Yeah, sure he is. Yeah, Jeff Nippert.
importantly to me, despite steadily losing weight, I was keeping my strength up on all my lifts. And that's probably the best indicator that I was keeping my muscle.
Keeping your muscle, keeping your sarcoplasmic phony muscles, I guess, pumping them up. This is funny, man. He did one rep, guy, just to impress all of you. One shitty little rep. Then they clapped to make it look like he did more than one rep. Okay.
The first month was up. I started to think that maybe I just didn't need as much volume as I used to think, as long as I was pushing really hard. The research does show, for the most part, that on average, higher volume training does lead to more muscle growth. However, I do think on a cut, a low volume program can
Yeah, but higher volume training doesn't lead to more myofibrillar growth. Sarcoplasmic growth, yeah, but not myofibrillar.
make more sense. And that's because you have a lower recovery capacity. And so a high volume training program can just be harder to recover from. So yeah, if you're doing a bulk or a recomp or whatever.
You could recover from this the very next morning and go back and hit it again because it's not based on myofibrillar growth. You're not recovering from micro damage.
Whatever high volume training works great. I think it makes perfect sense. But when you're on a cut,
Sure, it makes perfect sense if you want to look like this egghead with an old face, balding, and doing high volume training, putting glycogen in your body, suffering from glycation. Yeah.
I think a lower volume program with really high intensity is a smarter approach. And that's what we're doing. But maybe I'm getting
Maybe that's why he's losing his looks too. He's becoming ugly.
ahead of myself. 1 month isn't that much to go by, and new programs are always fun at first anyway. Plus, if it turns out that I lose a bunch of muscle by the 100-day check-in, I might change my tune. By the midway point, I started to feel like all that extra volume that I used to do was depleting me more than I realized.
Yeah.
I actually think it was holding me back in some ways, because training is supposed to be fun. And I'll tell you, I used to
Training is supposed to be fun. It's not really fun when you're building myofibrillar growth. It's not fun. It's like a job, bro. I don't find it fun. But this pumping your muscles up could be fun, I guess, for some people who are retarded. There's a lot of retarded people out there. They love to pump up their muscles with water and go, wee-hee, I pumped it. Look at the pump I got. Then they measure their pumps and stuff. Man, they're all insane, bro. Get it?
dread doing some of those super high volume workouts, especially leg days, and especially when cutting.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, for my leg workout, I hit two
You don't need to cut. He just said he was losing body fat doing high volume training. You don't need to cut. It's just stupid.
sets of squats, 2 sets of leg curls, 1 set of lunges.
Why do you think people tell you when you eat potatoes like complex carbohydrate, like starch, you won't get fat from eating starch? Why don't you get fat from eating starch? Because it's very slow going. It doesn't spike insulin. It's very slow digesting. Yeah, and it could put you kind of in what you would call, it would increase insulin. So insulin's anabolic. So you're lifting every day, right?
2 sets of leg extensions, 1 set of abductions, and 2 sets of calves. It's not
Also, if you do expand the sarcoplasm, you'll stretch the fat cells, so it'll make it look like you have less body fat as well. Just like Vegan Gains right now on steroids, it looks like he has less body fat because he got puffy from the sarcoplasmic muscles he's building, those phony muscles. Get it? And so it's causing the fat cells to spread out. Yeah, giving the illusion he has low body fat.
nothing. It's still a hard workout, but it only takes me about 45, maybe 60 minutes if I take my time, and I absolutely love it. I'm also more locked in than ever before. I don't know if it's some of my ADHD tendencies, but during almost every single high volume workout I used to do, my focus would always start to taper off near the middle.
Sure.
I'd go on my phone more, I'd rest a little longer in between sets, and just start socializing. An already long workout would drag on even more. And this is where a low volume training style really shines.
Oh yeah.
This month, Nutrifarms is welcoming you to the table.
It's what I've been calling the focus effect. When you know you only have 1 or 2 sets to get the job done, you will lock in. Before every set, I remind myself that I need to nail my execution and my effort. Because of that, I don't think there's been a single set where I didn't bring the intensity for this entire challenge. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. After all, this challenge only has 1 subject, and I haven't even shown you my results yet. And even if they are amazing, you shouldn't base too much of your own training off of one person's experience. That's why I want to take a second look at the science, because while on the surface, it really can look like volume is king, there is more support for a lower volume training approach than you'd think, at least in the right context. For example, there's a lot of data showing that you need way less volume to maintain muscle than you need to build muscle.
Yeah, to maintain the sarcoplasmic muscle, yes, less volume, but you need way more volume to increase the sarcoplasm. Okay, yeah.
This classic study from Bickel and colleagues had subjects run 2 phases back to back, a high volume phase and a low volume phase. For the high volume phase, they hit their legs 3 days a week. Each workout had 3 sets of squats.
Oh, they hit him 3 days a week. Okay, yeah, this is great, yeah.
3 sets of leg press, and 3 sets of leg extensions. That's 27 sets per week just for their quads. And they did that for 16 weeks. Then, half the subjects entered a super low volume phase, where they dropped their workload down to, get this, 1 set for each exercise once a week. That means they went from 27 sets down to 3. And guess what happened to their gains? They maintained 100% of their size and strength for another 6.
They maintain their size, the sarcoplasm, and they maintain their motor units by just going down to that one time. Yeah, okay. So what?
16 weeks. Oh, and then another 16 weeks after that. They maintain.
What happens when they go away and they don't lift for quite a while? What will happen to the sarcoplasmic gains? They'll go away. What will happen to the motor units? They'll go away too right away. They go away a lot quicker. They come on a lot faster. When it comes to myofibrillar growth, if you're training for that, exercise-induced muscle damage, they come on a lot quicker, the motor units, than the gains itself in myofibrillar growth. Now, when you in sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, again, that's the first thing that comes on. The motor units is the first thing that comes on. What's the first thing to go when you stop training? The motor units in sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, they go away, and then the sarcoplasm, it shrinks, it goes away.
Their gains for 32 weeks. That's 224 days, doing just 1 set per exercise. 3.
Yeah, but you have to maintain these fake gains the rest of your life because they're fake. They're not based on contractile muscle proteins. You didn't build real muscle. That doesn't require maintenance. But sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, you have to be a lifting slave your whole life. And these motor units too. You got to be a slave to motor units. You got to be a slave to the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, dude.
Sets total a week. That's it. And there were 70 subjects in that study. Some of them actually kept making gains during the low volume phase. And to really drive this home, a brand new low volume study from September of this year, so just last month, was just published. In this paper, Herman and colleagues had 42 resistance-trained subjects run a low-volume program. 2 full body workouts per week with just 1 set per exercise. Each workout took about 30 minutes. They split everyone doing that low volume program into a failure group and a non-failure group. The failure group obviously went to failure. The non-failure group left 2 reps in reserve. Other than that, both groups were following that 30-minute workout twice a week low volume plan. And after 8 weeks of 1 set per exercise per workout, both groups made significant gains.
Sure.
The failure group tended to grow better.
They would all make significant gains in sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because it's not regulated by follistatin, myostatin, or the satellite cell. That's why when you read about people that build myofibular growth, I'll show you this for an example too here. So when you go to like PubMed NCBI, muscle damage from eccentric exercise, mechanism, mechanical signs, adaptation, and clinical applications. Eccentric exercise, mechanical signs, muscle damage. Get it? That type of training. So what's one proposed mechanism? Because what's a unique feature of untrained muscles? A unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day afterwards because of what? Damage to muscle fibers. And so when your muscles get damaged, what do they get? Well, let's find out. A second period of exercise a week after the first produces much less damage to the point where it goes away. This is a result of an adaptation process. One proposed mechanism for the adaptation is an increase in sarcomere number in muscle fibers. See that? That has nothing to do with high volume sarcoplasmic training volume like this goof is doing, okay? Your goof friend here. This goof influencer, your goofy influencer, Jeff Nippard.
Overall, though. So this new study tells us 2 really important things.
Now you know why you're not gaining any more muscle? The reason why you're not getting any more muscle damage and building myofibular growth, contractile proteins, is because one of the proposed mechanisms is that there's an increase in sarcomere number in muscle fibers. The second proposed mechanism is you're coming in often now to the gym. Get it? And pumping your muscles up with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy.
First, on a low volume program, going to failure seems to work better. And perhaps more importantly, it tells us that even experienced trainees can make gains on a low volume program.
All people can make sarcoplasmic gains. It's not regulated by anything. It's not being protected by repeated bout effect. It's not being protected by the increase in sarcomere number in muscle fibers that you got the first time when you were untrained. It's not regulated by satellite cell, follistatin, myostatin, nothing.
Volume might not be the king that we thought. At least that's what I make of this 2023 meta-analysis.
Yeah, glycogen synthesis exceeds that breakdown is king when it comes to this lifting. Yeah.
From Robinson and colleagues, which very clearly showed that the closer you train to failure, the more muscle you gain. To me, if any one variable should wear the...
Yeah, because you're trying to suck in more of the glycogen. You're opening a bigger window now. That's what you're doing. You're just opening a bigger window for glycogen synthesis.
Brown, it should probably be training hard.
And here's the thing. The majority of people out there, their diets are usually 80% carbohydrate anyway. So, yeah.
Right? And with low volume training, since you're only doing a small handful of sets, you can't afford to push nearly every single set to failure without hurting your recovery. If you try to do that on a higher volume plan, the fatigue and injury risk would eventually start to outweigh any marginal benefits. So after 100 days of low volume workouts, what happened? Did it work?
Well, people think that it's anyway.
So after 100 days of low volume workouts...
Well, the problem is these people have this idea. They think that, I got to lift a heavy weight. That's what's building the muscle. When in fact, you're not building any muscles. You're just pumping water in your muscles. And you're lifting a heavy weight because you're recruiting motor units. Duh. But whatever, man. I don't care, really.
What happened? Did it work? Well, this is what I looked like at the beginning of the challenge.
Yeah.
And this is what I look like now, after 100 days of low volume training.
100 days of low volume training. Okay, you look there, you look there. You look the same to me. I don't see much difference. But okay, whatever. You get a little bit more pumped?
I was cutting during this experiment, so I am clearly leaner now.
He was cutting during this experiment. Okay, whatever. You look a little bit leaner there on the right. I don't know, maybe a tiny bit.
But I also think I look more jacked, especially in my legs and my shoulders. And despite being about 7
You're covering your legs in the left picture. He's covering his legs. He's lying to you, man. He is tricking you people. Look at him. He's wearing these fucking long underwear on the left, then he's got short underwear on the right. Then he says, "Look, my legs they got better on the right because they really didn't." So he had to cover them up. That's why, to fool you. You don't even see his legs on the left. So how the fuck would you know what they were?
pounds lighter in the after, I think I held on to my muscle fullness, size.
He got lighter on low volume training. I thought he says he maintained his muscle. He's full of shit. They're this 40 muscles.
And density really well. And my DEXA supports that too. From day 1,
Density. You're trying to get lead to fake density. This is bullshit.
to day 100, I lost 5.5 pounds of fat mass and 1.8 pounds of lean mass. I think that's a really solid ratio, especially when you consider that lean mass isn't only muscle mass. It also includes any water that I lost during the cut. And at my training age, you always lose some water.
You believe this guy is on steroids, bro? You people are dumb, to believe that this guy is like he's a real influencer. He's fake, man. Look at his body fat on his stomach. Jesus.
As you shred down. But the crazy thing is, I think my results are even better than that implies. Because throughout this challenge, I got 3 DEXA
Yeah, as you shred down. Yeah, shred down.
scans. One done on day 1, another on day 30, and a final check-in on day 100. From day 30 to day 100, so across 70 days of low-volume training, I actually gained half a pound of lean mass while losing another 2.3 pounds of fat mass. That lean mass change could be within the margin of error, but it was still pretty encouraging to see. I also gained strength. Even in the very last week of my cut, when my macros were the lowest, I was hitting new PRs on the pendulum squat.
Yeah! 7! I did 5 reps with 5 plates 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
6 reps with 5 plates last week. 7 reps with 5 plates this week.
Let's go.
And my weight is going down. It's so...
Look, and my weight is going down. Sorry about that. He's like, and my weight is going down, but I'm doing higher reps. Because you're recruiting motor units, you fool. Duh.
so insane how much better.
Oh, it's insane. I went down in weight, but I went up in weight. Oh, down in weight and up in weight. Look.
You lock in when you only have 2 sets to do. If I knew I had like 4 sets on that, I would be dragging my feet 100%. The fact that I know I've only got 2, bro, I lock in and go crazy.
Yeah.
And
Can you imagine wasting decades just putting water in your muscles and trying to I don't know, man, maintain this stupid motor unit shit? To try to recruit motor units, this is insanity at its worst. I mean, at its worst, bro. I don't want to be a motor unit slave or a sarcoplasmic slave. I don't want to be either. I never wanted to be either one of those. That's the reason why, thank God, I discovered what built myofibular growth, muscle damage training, exercise-induced muscle damage training. Thank God I went for that, man, because fuck, I could only imagine being like these lifting slaves, phew. But it's great for as long as you can carry that for too. Nothing lasts forever. You're gonna die one day too. Your money's gonna go everything. Like I said, nothing is gonna last forever. But this is slavery, man. You gotta maintain this. You gotta keep going and pumping your muscles up, and it's just gonna destroy you. Really, it's gonna destroy you in the end. One day you're gonna wake up. You'll probably be paralyzed. Maybe who the fuck knows? Maybe you'll have man, who knows? Maybe you'll get a stroke or you'll be paralyzed. You'll be dysfunctional, maybe back problems. I don't know what, but you'll get something really bad by putting this glycogen in your muscle eventually with the time. It's not a good thing. the older you get. You can get away with it when you're young, but I just wouldn't do that as an older person. Stay away from that 100%, man. It'll make you impotent too. It'll make you infertile as well. A bunch of things will happen. It's bad for you. In the long run, it's bad. In the short run, you could probably handle it, but not in the long run. And it will deteriorate you with the time a lot faster because science will corroborate what I say. It'll make you dysfunctional doing carbohydrates in the long term.
I even hit a huge new PR on the chest press machine in the final upper body workout of the experiment.
Yeah, because high volume training, he's coming in every day. He's every day, so of course he's going to get a PR. He's increasing, he's recruiting motor units. If I come in every day to the gym, right, and I want to recruit motor units, then I'm gonna go every day to the gym. Hell, I could go twice a day to the gym, so I could try to increase and recruit as many motor units as I can, so I can get a PR. I want to get a PR. Get it, dude? Yeah, dude. Because I need a PR so fucking badly. A motor unit PR. So badly, man. I'm hurting. All over my body's hurting for a motor unit PR. Get it? That I have to go to the gym now and slave myself every single day. So I can't enjoy my life. Time is very short, bro. Life doesn't last forever. But if you spend more than half your life in a gym and half your life in traffic and then half your life in a cubicle, your life is gone already.
Dude, that's 3 reps. 4 reps. More than my previous PR. That's actually nuts.
On the check-in days, we also tested my max strength on the
Did he say what this strength is? He didn't tell you it's based on motor unit, right? He never says contractile proteins. He never says motor units. He doesn't say this is sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. He just says hypertrophy training.
Smith machine bench press and the leg extension under a strict fasted protocol. After 100 days, I matched my bench press strength and I added 15 pounds to my leg extension max.
So what? So what? You added that to it. Now you have to maintain that lift, but you didn't build any myofibular growth.
That may not sound like much, but considering that I lost 7 pounds, I'm already very advanced, and I was actually doing really low volume compared to my baseline, I think that's super solid. And I'll link the raw data for the DEXA and my strength tests down below as well. I think my progress updates show
He's the raw data. He's gonna match up the raw data. Let's go do what the data says. Let's do these tests and see what we can get out of these tests. Yeah, I've did a test before. It's called sarcoplasmic stuff, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. You could do these tests if you want. Okay, enjoy yourself. Yeah.
a clear picture too.
Clear picture does looks the same to me, man. I don't know.
A clear picture too. Much.
Yeah, it looks clear progress. Looks the same to me, man. Maybe on the right you're squeezing a little bit tighter. You have longer underwear on the left, so we can't see your legs. Because you really didn't change. He's lying.
More definition in my lower half, more pop in my shoulders, and more shape in my arms. The biggest surprise.
I don't know. That could be, maybe it's touch up here. Maybe you're closer to the camera. Who knows?
For me, though, was just how good the workouts felt. This variable is becoming more and more important to me at 34 and almost 2 decades deep into training. Instead of
34, 2 decades into training? He's 34 years old. 2 decades into training. Holy shit. For this?
dreading long workouts, now I actually can't wait to train
Just
each
so
day.
he could fake it on steroids because he couldn't make it? Wow, what a waste.
And this challenge did cause me to change my mind on something pretty big. If you've been following me for a while, you might remember that I used to say that your training volume shouldn't change just because you start cutting.
How do training requirements change when you go from a caloric surplus to a caloric deficit? And I think the answer is actually quite simple. It doesn't.
But after doing this challenge, I want to update that. If you're cutting, I think low volume is the way to go. High volume will still work, but I don't think it's ideal since your recovery is lower in a deficit and low volumes retain muscle just fine as long as you're training hard.
Okay, whatever.
If you're bulking, I honestly think the best approach might be to keep your volume relatively low for every muscle except one. Blast one muscle with 10 to 20, maybe even 30 sets per week at a time. And then every few months,
Really? Okay.
you can rotate which muscle you're blasting. I think this makes a lot of sense, especially as you get more advanced. And I think once I start a lean bulk again, this is probably what I'll do. And now
Lean, bulking again, getting fat again. Okay, getting fat, yes.
that I've got the Muscle Lab, I'll make sure that I document all that progress and keep you guys posted on how it goes. In the
Yeah, you do that, Jeff, for us. Thanks.
meantime, if you're looking for a low volume, high intensity program like the one that I ran during this challenge, you can get my brand new Min-Max program.
See, he's gonna sell you this program so you could do it too, guys. Get it? Enjoy yourself, man. Yeah. Pump yourself up to high heaven. Maybe you'll get that PR in Motor Unit.
Over at jeffnipper.com, and it's 25% off for launch week. In case you're watching this after launch week, I'll go ahead and put a discount code in the description box down below so
It's a waste of time.
you can still save some money. Research shows that one of the most common reasons that people skip the gym is lack of time, and the low volume workouts in the Min-Max
They skipped the gym because lack of time. Maybe because they realized it was a waste of time. That's why they were just wasting their time. Muscles are post-mitotic, dude. They don't grow.
program are shorter, easier to stick to, more enjoyable, and easier to recover from. This is my favorite program that I've ever released. It comes with over 90 brand new exercise demos filmed in the new Muscle Lab, a full 12-week program with exercise substitutions, in case there's any exercise you can't do, coaching notes from me, and a full ebook explaining all the science behind the program. It's suitable for all experience levels.
A full ebook and the science behind every single program. And all his programs equate to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and motor unit recruitment. Yep.
But if you're a complete beginner just starting the gym, I'd suggest running through my fundamentals program first. If you're aiming to lose fat right now, this is absolutely the best training program I could recommend to you.
Yeah, if you want to lose fat, you should just go work out. Go to the gym every day, work out. Yeah, you'll start burning fat. Yeah. It'll start burning. There's a thermal effect there, a thermal effect. Hell, you could do it. You could work out twice a day, and you'll increase more of this thermal effect. Okay. Does he look like he got massive from all that lifting? No, absolutely not. Because when you look at the before and after pictures, he didn't grow at all. So there you go. He said high volume training. You're gonna build muscle. Did he build any muscle? He says he lost weight, and then he says he got leaner. I don't know. Whatever, man.
And if your main goal is to build muscle, I think that as long as you want shorter, more intense, and more time-efficient workouts, or
What does it tell you? What type of muscle? Is it contractile, myofibular, or sarcoplasmic, Jeff? Why don't you tell your viewers if you want to build sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, fake muscles? This is the program for you.
if you just like to experiment with low-volume training for yourself. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you download a free trial of Macro Factor, which is my smart nutrition.
Macro factor, dude. Look, even this tells you AI. This statement is mostly correct. Bodybuilding often results in a majority of muscle growth being sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is the increase in the volume of the sarcoplasm, including glycogen water muscles, rather than myofibrils, protein filaments. This type of hypertrophy is promoted by high rep, moderate weight training. Yeah, you could say any training. When they say high volume, whatever, they're talking about you coming in every day to the gym. As it creates more metabolic stress and is focused on the pump. Oh, the pump. However, myofibular hypertrophy, which increases the size of the myofibrils, leading to greater strength, is also important for balanced program. It is important, but you're not getting it anymore. And muscles are post-mitotic. So here, I'll explain this in this use AI. The statement is mostly correct. While muscle fibers don't split to increase in number because they're post-mitotic. The size increase for weightlifting is a combination of sarcoplasmic and myofibular. It can be a combination, but guess what? You're not getting any myofibular growth. Get it? Because you're not focused on that training. Get it? Nobody is. The majority of the size increase in general considered to be sarcoplasmic hypertrophy in bodybuilding, focused training which increases the volume of the sarcoplasm, a fluid rich in glycogen, ATP, and water. Surrounding the myofibular hypertrophy, which involves the growth of the contractile protein, also contributes especially to increased strength. Yes, it does. Boy, you're not getting that. Get it? Yeah. Anyways, I don't know what else to say there, dude. This video is ending. I'm out of here.
nutrition app. Your diet is also super important for building your best physique, and it's the thing that most people miss. All right, that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you.
Yeah, it was just trash, man. See you in the next one. Ciao, friends.